The value of the items on your list. Thompson, did you and your wife keep a record or a log of your purchases, the amounts and the dates?
No, sir.
Are you aware of the fact that this auction house really does not deal in what you might call Royal Street, New Orleans antiques?
I have acknowledged that based on
Mention again to the amounts of things on this last report of sale. $2,807.25 worth of merchant payments were made to sellers.
Yes, sir.
And if you total the number of items, you'll come up with 156 items. So, giving pluses and minuses, the average item value sold on that night was $18. That's really not very high end.
No, sir. And I have no idea.
Anything on these items here that would be other than for someone else to just come in and take a look and say these are basically nice household things?
I'm not sure that I understand.
I'm saying, why would they come in and think that these necessarily are antiques?
Are you asking me what?
I'm looking for something to make you feel that they're other than just household things that normal people have rather than collectors.
Well, only for me telling him that they were antiques. There were a number of primitive items that would date back into the 1700s, 1800s, some turn of the century stuff, and again some newer things. But
Are you able to take that list and identify which items really would have a more than the apparent value of for example, they have folding chairs. You know, I mean, I'm sure there are antique folding chairs, but we had nothing to go on to know that it's other than just some folding chairs that were excess.
yes, sir. I mean, I think you said it best. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Box of blankets, box of glass, box of kitchen miscellaneous, box of posters miscellaneous, 2 direct TV dishes, 1 box of household electronics, 2 doors white, Christmas tree stand, box of rugs, box of linens, blankets, box of clothing, 2 sets of folding chairs. The antique bed's kind of interesting there. Can you tell me something about that? The iron bed?
An antique iron bed.
Can you describe it a little bit more further?
It was a relatively heavy material and somewhat ornate, but
Was it a twin bed?
it was a full
bed?
It's pretty typical in with antique beds.
Antique toaster? Can you describe that, please, sir?
It's obviously metal. It's made of a relatively shiny metal. The elements are contained in the center, and there are little doorways, so to speak, that are ventilated that open out. The toast is placed in and they collapse in. It sits in somewhat of a trapezoid shape,
like
maybe,
okay.
something like that.
That's kind of interesting. But how about the child's potty seat here?
It's an antique.
It's antique too.
Yes, sir.